Let us pray. Almighty God, the creator and ruler of heaven and earth, we beseech thee to inspire and guide all our actions so that we may always walk in the path of justice, love, and charity to one another. Help us with thy grace to do only those things that will promote the unity, peace, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria in general and Lagos State in particular. Amen. Good afternoon, distinguished colleagues. You are all welcome to today's session. Good afternoon, distinguished management and staff. I welcome you back to the beginning of Ninth Assembly Hall. Sure, our first sitting is going to be beginning of new things for this house, for Lagos State and Nigeria in general. Let us go through the votes and proceedings of Friday, 7 June 2019. have Amsat of our side. It was Abdurrahman, not Amsat. Amsat was not here. That is on page 64. Oh, sorry, 04. Page 04. After that is in the name of Madam Seda is also missing on this one. Page 01. Page 02. Page 04. 05. Honorable Councilman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the page 04, Roman figure 42, that name there, Honorable Mrs. Badmos Olujobi. Badmos Olujobi is a compound name. Our first name is Bola Badmos Olujobi. So I think that change should just be.
Honorable Luredi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Please, my name is Akisoya Ainde Luredi, not Akisoya Luredi Ainde. Thank you.
Page 06. Majority Leader.
Thank you, sir. Page 04. I remember that Mr. Speaker did recognize the presence of the former Deputy Governor, Prince Abiodun Ogunleye, on the day, but the name is missing on this paper for the record, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Clark, kindly adjust all the observations. The vote and proceedings of Friday, 7 June 2009. Friday, 7 June 2019. It's hereby approved. Any other announcements? Sorry. Any message from the governor?
Right, Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable members, we have correspondence from the Office of the Governor of Lagos State addressed to the Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, Speaker, Lagos State House of Assembly. It is titled, Forwarding of the List of Nominees for Appointment as Commissioners and Special Advisors. With a kind permission, I'll read. In accordance with Section 192, Part 2, Chapter 6 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, I'm pleased to convey the list and resumes of the first batch of nominees for appointment as Honorable Commissioners and Special Advisors for the kind consideration and confirmation of honorable members of the House of Assembly, please. They are as presented hereunder. Dr. Rabiu Olowo Onaolapo, Mrs. Folashade Adefisayo, Professor Akin Abayomi, Dr. Idris Salako, Mr. Tunji Bello, Mr. Benga Omotosho, Mrs. Toke Benson Awinka, Mrs. Bolaji Dada, Mr. Larry Udushote, Dr. Frederick Oladeinde, Mr. Bolaon Lawal, Dr. Wale Ahmed, Mr. Muyo Onigbanjo, SAN, Mr. Akim Pham, Mrs. Ajibola Ponle, Engineer Mrs. Aramide Adeyoye, Mr. Shegun Daudu, Mrs. Uzamot Akimbile Yusuf, Mr. Sam Igube, Ms. Ruth Bisola Olusoya, Princess Aderemi Adebowale, Mr. Tubosun Alake, Mr. Afolabi Ayontayo, Ms. Adekemi Ajayi Bembe, Mr. Femi George. Importantly, the Right Honorable Speaker is invited to note that the names and resume of the remaining nominees will also be forwarded in due course for the consideration and clearance of honorable members accordingly. While looking forward to your usual prompt response, please accept the assurances of my regards for your good self and the entire members of our esteemed State House of Assembly. Signed, His Excellency Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, Governor of Lagos State. I also have, here, okay, that's all about correspondence from the government. So.
Any other announcement?
Distinguished honorable members, I wish to announce the presence of Mr. Chu Maomi, the Consul General of the Consulate General of the People's Republic of China in Lagos, and his assistant, Mr. Zhang Yalong, in the chamber to observe the day's proceedings. Thank you, sir.
Petition.
Mr. Speaker, sir, we have a petition from Ijegun Joint Community Development Association, LSHA Local Government, Igodo, LCDA. And it is addressed to the Right Honorable Speaker, Lagos State House of Assembly, and it is dated 22nd July 2019. And it is titled, Save Ijegun from Destruction and Extinction, a Trade, sir. After the unfortunate pipeline explosion, which occurred on the 4th of July 2019 at 5 Junction, Ijegun, Ikotun, Igodo, LCDA, AG, Alimosho Local Government, as a result of the activities of vandals and the several brainstorming sessions which led to the organization of a town hall meeting, where members of the community met and discussed the following at the communique which were reached and derived from several submissions. One, the government as a matter of urgency should deploy and station security personnel around the pipeline routes where the vandals usually operate, most especially at the 5 Junction. The government should construct barricades in form of barriers across the entrance of streets leading to the pipeline routes. 3, the government should stop forthwith the approval of more filling station gas plants in Ijegun environment, as there are now too many, most of which are concentrated in and around the residential areas in Ijegun. 4, that henceforth, the tanker drivers should be stopped from parking their tankers along the pipeline routes. 5, the government should construct concrete blockages around the preferred spots of the vandals to make digging difficult and almost impossible for them. 6, that petrol tankers should be restricted from moving into and outside of Ijegun through both Ikotu Ijegun Road and Insolo Road between the hours of 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. 7, that the government should make arrangement for financial compensation for both the victims and those that lost their property. 8, the government should look into the dredging of the canal that link Iba LCDA from Awolumate Street by the Catholic Church in Ijegun as a matter of urgency. And they also demand thorough investigation of the vandals with the aim of fishing out and prosecuting the perpetrators. Signed, Mr. Wale Akimbo, Chairman, the CDA, Oguntolu Oluwatosin, the Secretary, and Honorable Saliu Alalade, Councillor Wadi Ijegun. That's all, sir.
Matter of budget public importance, personal explanation. Honorable Jim, I'll come back to you. Personal explanations, reports. Yeah, before we continue, let me quickly take this moment to announce the presence of Mr. Chu Mahmin, the Consul General of the Consulate General of the People's Republic of China. Yeah, you are welcome, sir. We thank you for coming. Thank you, sir. We still welcome Mr. Chang Jalong in the chamber to observe today's proceeding. Thank you very much. You are most welcome. Thank you. Yeah, from the first letter read by the clerk, the letter from his HE notifying us of his nominee. Honorable, your engineer, secondly, your line.
That Honorable Speaker, sir, when you said reports, I wanted to give a report.
I'll come back to you. See how brother is. Well, we want to commend the governor for being proactive and sending in his list within a short time. And I want to assure him and the public that the House will take it up immediately to do the needful as provided in the Constitution by screening the nominee. We will do the needful diligently. We will consider all they have and what they are bringing before us to support the administration of the governor, and now they intend to move the state forward. I want to assure His Excellency that we will do it to the best of our knowledge and making sure that those at the end of the day will be clear are those who are ready to work with him, and that we believe have all it takes to serve Lagos State cabinet. The petition, Honorable B.C. Yusuf and Honorable Lowo, will Honorable Lowo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my colleague. Good afternoon. Mr. Speaker, this morning, some protesters from that local government approached the House to express their displeasure about the unabated stealing of crude using the pipeline, which we call bunking. Obviously, Mr. Speaker, one too many. That particular community has suffered so long as regards vandalism and destruction of property and lives. The last that happened, the damage was so collateral and a lot of lives were lost, property were lost, and they are just praying that NNPC, Lagos State government, and probably federal government should collaborate and see how they can have an end to such uh, um, unrepentant bunkers. And I know by experience that when you talk about bunkering, it's a big business backed by very, very rich people in terms of supporting them with logistics and transportation. And it's not just a thing the community can withstand. They cannot withstand them. Because when we are talking about weapons, they have all it takes. When we are talking about big men that will support them, backbone them, we know what it takes. But unfortunately, we are losing lives to that. So, Mr. Speaker, my prayer would be that they requested the state government to come to the aid of those people that suffered loss and those people that were injured in form of compensation. I reason with them. That lasting solution would be that they have patrolling and having stationary APC, armored personnel carrier, and the military personnel and police, as the case may be. I reason with them. But ultimately, we should call on NNPC, probably through the state governor, at ensuring that they put in place barricades that can avert recurrence. So, Mr. Speaker, there are people that have suffered and they need to be compensated, and their issues looked into. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have to appreciate you for the seriousness you have given to this topic. Highly very important for those who visited the scene of the accident. Many people died instantly on that very day, and as I'm talking, they are still dying. Mr. Speaker, this is a serious issue, and it is not Ijegun alone. The whole of Alimanso is under threat. Mr. Speaker, if you remember vividly that Barua is the same thing. Here is the monster that has rampaged the villages around Barua area. Like Honorable Olowo have rightly said, more than 50 trucks of trailer were being carried to that very place. It is not a big, small money. Every day, the people around that place could not sleep with their two eyes closed. The same thing at Aboru. So also at Abule Egba, that of Abule Egba cut across Alimanso and Agege. And Mr. Speaker, there was a period that of Agege near Abule Egba that occurred. More than 80 people died instantly. So the same thing is happening today. Everywhere now is being surrounded by these monsters. They don't allow their people to sleep. And they always come with sophisticated weapons that no ordinary people can tackle. It is only the government that have the instrument of power that can checkmate these people. Mr. Speaker, once again, I have to thank you, but we have to call on the federal government that the negligence is too much on the part of NNPC for not put right surveillance on this area, because it's not the first time that it will occur. It is daily occurrence, which means that those who the insider know fully well what they are doing. This petroleum dealer, they cannot do without the insider being part of the system. So that is why we have to call on the federal government to put more security on the area. So also the Lagos State government, so that the citizens that voted for us will not be dying just gradually. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for attending to this issue very promptly.
Honorable Bullion.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I greet my colleagues. Well, I think I have to affirm what has been said by the earlier speakers, Honorable Lowo, Honorable Busi Yusuf. Is an occurrence that is really becoming a norms within our community, right? The one at Ijegun, where we sympathize with the families affected, we feel that there is need for this house to really go on a total investigative action concerning all these acts and come up with holistic recommendations. Right. All those things that have been mentioned, they are very important, but we cannot continue to be losing lives in the state every time. When you look at the one that that just happened at Ijegun, the same thing is still going on in Abule Egba presently, both day and night, across Ifakojaye, Ojokore CDA, and Agbado Okeodo LCD. They are still there and they are operating right now. The civil defense put there, they are not capable to really match the weapons being used by these smugglers. So the bunkers, I will advise that we do holistic investigation and come up with recommendation for the state and onward to the federal government. Thank you.
Honorable Kaide, sir.
Thank you, Director Honorable Speaker, sir. I want to thank you very much for allowing us to allowing the clerk to read this petition. When that thing happened, I was there. I tried to visit those people that were involved because it's from my constituency. It was a gory pictures of what I met on ground on that day. The eve of that particular night, we were told that 10 tankers were brought. They have been able to scoop and went away with 8 tankers. It remains 2. And along the line, we learned that it was when the security agencies are trying to stop them, that it was one of those funders that even put the light so that you can see how desperate they are because they don't want the security agencies to catch up with them. And they have they were the one that even put fire, and lots of people died. When that thing happened, it was 2 pictures that was sent to the social media. Later we went to the hospitals, and as was rightly said by my very good brother, the Honorable Bisu Yusuf, 18 people have lost their lives, and the place, for those of us that visited them there, those people living around that area are more or less low-income people. And there was even one family that lost, the father died, mother died, the children, 2 of his children died, and his grandson. And the funniest part of it, the following day, which was on the 5th, the incident happened on the 4th of July 2019. The following day, which was 5th of July 2019, those people, the funders, they have an affront of coming to that place again the following day. And we later discovered that the NNPC were culpable. Some of the security agencies were also culpable. It is to me, it's more or less like a cartel. Like what the people of Ijegun see is the resolutions that were suggested to the government, if they can fully look into it, most especially the one that said that the petrol tanker should be restricted from moving into and outside of Ijegun from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. And the government should look into the dredging of the canal. And there's one other thing. Most of these farm tanks are being situated at Ijegun. The place is a residential area. So they should please come to our aid. They should save lives. I'm appealing to this honorable member, to the right honorable speaker, that all the law enforcement agencies, they should please do the needful. They know what to do. And lastly, sir, one of the reasons why those that came this morning, the purpose of their coming was that some of the funders had been arrested, even though it is a bailable offense. we want them to do justice, because most of the time we always hear that they have been arrested. After some few minutes you'll be seeing them moving around around the community. They are residing there, and it's very, very annoying for you seeing people that killed your people and still living within your community. So the government should please do the needful and let all those that were involved be brought to justice. Thank you, sir.
We have to overflow this. This is something that has happened almost 2 weeks ago, and sincerely, we also sympathize and share the grief of the relatives of the victims. We also commiserate with the people of Ijegun and the entire Lemon Show. As rightly explained, it is needful for the government to ensure protection of life and property, and there's need for us to call on our government for now to bring about security. We condone all the areas mentioned by our colleagues, especially Honorable BC Yusuf, to avoid same situation or incident from happening again. It happened about 2 months ago, if not more, around Abulegba, Gigi. Lot of lives were lost, and of recent we have just witnessed Ijegun, which had happened before. So we just have to do something about it. We don't have to fold our homes. We don't have to fold our hands. So it is acceptable to me to call on His Excellency to provide security, to condone of this area home, and also to look at some of the requests of the CDAs, most especially in coming to the aid of the victims and helping them. Some of them lost their houses, some of them families, to look into it and see how we can be of help to these people. Honorable Low, I want you to select some of the requests of the CDAs to come up with a prayer, especially in taking action that would prevent such reoccurrence, and at the same time in finding solutions to support the victims. For those who have lost their life, we pray that Almighty Allah grant them eternal rest, while we also rise to observe a minute silence in the honor of the deceased. The government should make arrangements for financial compensation. Government should look to encouraging. I think the government cannot do, I'm sure they are referring to Lagos state governments. NNPC is under the Department of Federal Government, but that is not enough for us to fold our hands. So the government should do the few we think can be taken care of as quickly as possible. And also to call on NNPC. There's need to call on NNPC to take charge of its responsibility. If NNPC is responsible for the pipes, they should also do something in protecting the pipes to prevent the funders from getting to the pipe. Honorable Noah,
Mr. Speaker, in the light of the position of the Ijegun Joint Community Development Association, I hereby call on the government of Lagos State to deploy and station security personnel around the pipeline route where the banders usually operate, mostly between the hours around the pipe junction. That the government should stop the tanker drivers from parking their tankers around the pipeline route. Thirdly, that the NNPC, as a matter of urgency, provide barricades to protect the pipelines and prevent vandals from vandalizing the lines. That the Lagos State government should provide arrangement for the financial compensation for both the victims.
Not financial, since we cannot quantify what will be enough or what will be involved. I think it's not in our position to put a burden on the government. So we just appeal to the government to take care the victims, mostly those who have their houses burned. So we don't
That the
commit
state government
ourselves.
should give support to the victims, especially those that lost their lives and their properties. And finally, that the government should embark on thorough investigation of the vandals with the aim of fishing out and prosecuting the perpetrators to avert reoccurrence. I so move.
Honorable Larry, you want to add to the prayers?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I just want to call our attention to this issue because I also saw the National Assembly that have visited the area, the Senate. I think they also are coming up with their own position. Maybe we should call on them and we should limit ourselves to our own area where they are asking what the Lagos State government can do, like the approval and other security that we can assist in that area. So
That is what the prayers say.
we are going toward we can't preempt the National Assembly with what they want to do also. So
Are you saying we should fold our hands?
no,
not-
I said we should limit ourselves to what the Lagos State government can do in that aspect. That is my own perspective, sir.
Did you hear his prayer?
Like when they mention about the compensation or the one that National Assembly, the NNPC can do, so I think we can call on them. They should quickly come up with their own report also.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Larry. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to give a kind of addendum to the prayers made by Honorable Olowo in view of the fact that what happened at Ijegun not quite long, they are still going back there. There are some other areas in the state also where they do this, where they do this bunkering, Mr. Speaker, I want to suggest that stationing security in all identified area in the state where bunkering is known to have taken place, so that we don't do this piecemeal. This is Jegun today, it could be another place tomorrow. So all places in the state that have been identified for this bunkering, where pipeline vandalization has been taking place, the government should take proactive steps to station security there, so that once and for all, we can gang these people who are in the act of bunkering, and we can save our people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
No, Honorable, we want to add to the prayers. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sincerely, I feel NMPC, they are culpable. They are the owner of the property. So we should inform the, my prayer is the NMPC should be made to pay compensation to those people because they are the cause of this problem They should be made to pay compensation, and where they failed, the state government should take them to court.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
I arise to support the motion as rightly moved,
The motion, we say need to adjust the motion, don't worry.
as amended.
Well, I think from the issue of NNPC has been raised, the need to call on NNPC to improve on monitoring exercise of the pipelines. As it is now, we have so many areas where we have the pipelines, which they are well exposed to the public. But to me, I'm sure we cannot station security officials in all these areas. So I think you should amend that line, that to develop security monitoring or protection of these pipelines. I don't think it's possible to station personnel all around where we have the pipeline. It's not possible.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That NNPC to provide barricades to protect and prevent vandals, and also put in security measures to avert reoccurrence. I so move.
Honorable BC Yusuf.
I rise to support the motion as moved by Honorable.
All in favor say aye. Those against nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk, kindly send the resolution to His Excellency the Governor of Lagos State and make sure the copy gets to the office of the NNPC. Thank you. Now, Mr. Honorable Jimo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, good afternoon. I want to rely on order of proceeding of this honorable house under matter of urgent public importance to bring to our notice the alarming situation of insecurity in the state, indeed in the country. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the level of insecurity in the state has taken different dimension and different nomenclature. In some houses, in some quarters, in some communities, it is called bandits. In some quarters, it is called henchmen. In some quarters, it is called Boko Haram. Indeed, in Lagos specifically, you can start this as courtesan. And it has taken different dimensions, as I've rightly said. And it's now the demon and end-all as something that is haunting our community. We are not at peace. Recently, Mr. Speaker, from the Federal Airport Authority, they have been calling the entire world to assist in terms of security matters at the airport, because they sense that there are some unexpected cases that they are seen at the airport, and indeed some people they deliberately stay away without the management and the entire workers of the port authority knowing. Not only that, Mr. Speaker, the hometown of our president, Daura in Katsina State, the head of Daura Emirates was kidnapped for 2 months, and I think it called for serious pressure. And this is the area I think is a wake-up call for the issue and idea of the state police that we are designing for. I've always been an advocate of state police, likewise you are an honorable member too. But people have argued differently that the governors and some other people from other quarters will make use advantage of the state police for their own, to fight for their own needs. But I have also argued, Mr. Speaker, that the state high court is created by the state, established by the state. Yet, they have been giving judgment even against the state associated that they have dismantled. I think we should look into this direction, and we should get the opportunity to call on our Southwest governor if since it's a constitutional matter, because for we to develop a concrete idea about the state police, it has to call for the amendment of the constitution. But in doing that, in our own capacity, and in your own capacity as the chairman of the Speaker Forum, we can also speak to the Southwest governor how they can facilitate even the outcome of their summit in Ibadan, the Southwest government, implementation of that and putting it into action, and perhaps set in motion a position paper on how we can go about the state. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the danger in this is that virtually all the states that have boundary with other countries are porous. The boundaries are porous. From Zamfara to Kebbi to Sokoto, Oyo, Ogun, and Lagos is not an exception. If you remember immediately, honorable colleagues, about the two major robbery incidents in Lagos were through our waterways. It's because the waterways is porous. From where you can negotiate by ESA, you can get a Delta in no time on the waterways. It's like good for us to take a contact of the way we have been taking action. That's why Lagos is seen as the state of action. That's why Lagos is seen as the demon and wonder. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, this insecurity in the country is very high. In a society in which a dog kill a tiger, I don't think it's safe. Recently, the daughter of one of the leaders of our territory was just murdered along the road. And so many people and so many casualties have been recorded in that direction. It's because you don't know them and they don't have identity. When I mean they don't have identity, because they are not as popular as the daughter. A lot of people have been killed. But I'm aware that people are kidnapped into the group, and they are saying that if they have it here, they can give them fuel so that they can give whatever they can, so that they can really do this thing. The law we made here is very hard. The likeness has already on the death penalty. Although there was some quarters reasoning it that in the 21st century, the United Nations is planning at the idea of the death penalty. Even US also has the concept of death penalty in the law. So I don't think there's anything bad in that. But I think there is a strong action and to follow our purpose government what they can do to ready US to this technical. It's a dangerous technical that we need to take some action when we know it's important. I thank you for giving me this opportunity to raise this.
Honorable Agbabi, or Jude, sorry. Put out your light. Please put out your light. Yeah, good afternoon, my speaker and colleagues. I think this topic, majority leader has brought to us is a daily occurrence nowadays in the country. In fact, the truth is that life to most of us now as if life is no longer important in Nigeria. Almost on a daily basis this happens. And sincerely, I never knew when Nigeria became. I remember for a few years ago, it has never been like this. On a daily basis, people like it. There's no day you listen to radio or television and you know number of people. Unfortunately, like in Nigeria, even in the state of the president, it is happening. Sokoto just happened 3 days ago. About 34 people were killed. So it's a big problem that I believe that Nigerians will rise up. Where are we heading to? Does it mean that life is no longer precious to all of us? And we continue to use a lot of names through either herdsmen or herders or Boko Haram, and people committing crimes. For me, I see it as crimes. People hide under this name to commit atrocities. And we're just, well, I would say, well, the issue of state police have always been mentioned, which for me is the right thing to do. Even though, yes, it needs constitutional amendment, but we can start from somewhere. So I believe that what is happening security-wise is not good enough for this country, and Nigerians will rise up against it, so that all of us one day will not be frustrated. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the prime mover of this motion for his very ingenious and well thought out presentation. Mr. Speaker, this issue of insecurity has assumed a very alarming dimension in Nigeria. Of course, we are aware that crime is not new to any city, any cosmopolitan city in the world. Crime is almost an inherent part of human existence. But when it happens that the rate at which crime progresses is now geometric, no longer arithmetic, it's cause for serious concern. Mr. Speaker, however, one is worried about what our governors in the Southwest especially are doing about assembling an empirical and scientific data of what happens where. Most of the time we hear information, we hear alarming news, we hear what has happened, we cannot even pinpoint. People that are killed are not, they are not just people without a relative. They have people. So why can't we have an empirical data of what the number of level of crime in the Southwest of God's sake? And again, sir, Mr. Speaker, let me say that in the meantime, while we are angling for state police, we can use this data to ensure the cooperation of the Nigerian police force and our security apparatus to present a case, formidable one, to the federal government to be aware that Southwest is now endangered. Now to travel from here to Osun State, there will be so much apprehension and people will warn you not to even embark on such a journey. The Vice President of Nigeria was in America about a month ago, and His Excellency said maybe the issues were exaggerated. Well, he could say so if there are no empirical data to support our claims. But I want to say too, sir, that most of the villages and towns or the places proximate to the forest where these things allegedly took place, there are people there. We have kings, we have valets, we have community stakeholders in those areas. What are they doing? Nobody is coming forward to give any responsible data about what has happened in this or domain. Kings or valets or whoever that is in the domain, that something happened there and could not give us something responsible and credible to hold on to, should be removed from office. Again, sir, Mr. Speaker, I want to beg that after each election, we will observe an upsurge in crime of this nature after each election. Because during the electioneering, maybe some unscrupulous politicians in some parts of the country recruit some people to work for them using violence to perpetrate or to penetrate their areas. So after the election, they seem to be discarded, and those people now migrate to other parts of the country to unleash terror on innocent people who did not know about their creation in the first instance. So we have to secure Lagos. Our own business, first and foremost, is to keep Lagos safe. I remember in 2015, we encountered this kind of circumstance, and this House of Assembly graciously allowed the governor then the sum of 4.something billion to procure equipment for the RRS so that Lagos will be fortified. Then there were traffic robberies and all sorts of incidences on Lagos Road. Then with the cooperation of this House of Assembly, we were able to nip that in the bud in Lagos State. I think there's a need to call our security apparatus, including the RRS, for a conference so that we can discuss the situation of Lagos and prepare against any eventuality that they want to penetrate Lagos. Also, the issue of border security, which my brother Honorable Jimo has hinged on, needs to be looked into critically. Even President Trump in America is looking towards securing his own border with Mexico, and that has created a lot of furore. There's nothing too bad if we can secure our border areas, fortify them against external aggression and incursion. In the meantime, we can appeal to immigration services to increase their patrol within the metropolis to fish out illegal aliens and return them back to where they come from. Mr. Speaker, that's my contribution. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speakers and my fellow colleagues. Nigeria as a nation, we are faced with many problems, such as unemployment and insecurity. About 2 months ago, I read it in the city media when a Nigerian woman decided to pay a visit to this country. On her way going to her hometown, she was kidnapped along with her daughter, 9 years old. Both of them were raped. My fellow colleagues, how long are we going to continue with this? The only solution to the problem facing our country as a nation is for us to have a state police. Before I joined this house, I think the Fifth Assembly had advocated for state police. But up to now, the federal government and some states did not deem it fit to be the only option to solve the problem confronting us. Just of a recent, around May this year, the Inspector Generals of the police had ordered to transfer about 6,000 police officers out of the state. How many policemen are we left with to secure over 20 million deductions? The rate of unemployment is increased day by day because the farmers are no longer go to the farm again. They are afraid of being killed and kidnapped. The price of the commodities in the market is on increase. The price of the basket of tomato is on increase. Investors, some of the investors, the existing investors, they are moving out of this country. No new one is willing to come and invest in our country. And this is affecting the revenue of both the state, the federal government, and the local government, and also led to the increase in the rate of unemployment. Nigeria is one of the among nations that we have a two-digit annihilation rate, all centers on issue of the insecurity. I want us to look at these key agencies critically, in which I believe they did not perform up to their expectations. Honorable Jimo has mentioned one that has to do with our immigration officer. If you go to the beggar in the morning, you see the numbers of the trailer that carry cows to Lagos. The numbers of the people on the trailer is more than the cows that bring it in. And these are the people that are riding Okadas on our road. They are causing a lot of traffic. I don't know what our immigration officers are doing. Some of us have traveled all over. We know the roles of the immigration officers. They come to the Nigerian opposite the case. My dear colleagues, Mr. Speakers, and my fellow colleagues, if we can address these problems of insecurity, I surely believe that the lost glories of our fatherland is going to be restored. Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, in your opening remarks, you have alluded to the fact that one of the major constitutional responsibilities of any government is security of its people. This security is failing in Nigeria. Honorable Jimo, who raised this issue, vividly captured the different nomenclature given to this and in different forms these are manifested. Mr. Speaker, this House of Assembly in the 8th Assembly rose to the challenge by making a law, the Lagos State Neighborhood Safety Law, part of which responsibility is to gather intelligence and work with the police. I am very sure that one of the provisions of the law is also to mobilize local security apparatus to work hand in hand and ensure that Lagos State is safe. Mr. Speaker, Lagos State spends a lot of money on buying equipment for the Nigerian police, when in actual fact, policing is under the exclusive list of the federal government. It is high time we spoke so loud and clear on the issue of state police, and that is one of those reasons we should be highlighting presently. Mr. Speaker, I don't know in what form it will take. We have the members of neighborhood forums outside there. I do not think there is enough synergy between the call and the various CDAs and the obas and chiefs who are heads of community. As Honorable Brahma said, the community leaders may have ideas of what to do, how to raise it. I am thinking, therefore, that part of what Honorable Brahma suggested as having, convocating a kind of conference or whatever, we should bring together the head of the communities in the state, the neighborhood safety, and the Nigerian police, as well as encouraging the local leaders to mobilize these local apparatus. I want to share my experience with my colleagues in Ikorodu when we had this issue of court crisis. The local apparatus in the town helped us more than help us so greatly in putting the case under control. And I believe that in all the communities, we have all these security apparatus who know the terrain and who know they know the terrain and they know the nooks and crannies to arrest this. I think what we need to do presently in the state is to raise consciousness within the community we have the apparatus to fight this. While calling for state police, we must be proactive also in conscientizing all the stakeholders in our various communities to rise to this occasion. There is threat in the land, Mr. Speaker. Like you said, there are so many people who reside in uncompleted buildings. There are so many people who do not have legitimate means of livelihood, and they are getting into the state day in, day out. Lagos is a place where everybody feels you could make a living, but at the same time, it constitutes security risk. I think it's time to be more proactive to our security challenges and find to the country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to commend Honorable Rene Wajimo for this matter of urgent public importance. Mr. Speaker, if we go to Federal Republic of Nigeria Constitution, Section 14, Subsection 1B, it says, and I quote, that security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. Mr. Speaker, if we look at Lagos State today, we have expended so much on security through Lagos State Security Trust Fund. Mr. Speaker, even though majorly we have expended so much on our security personnel like the policemen, we take them on training, we take them on capacity training. After some months, after 3 months, 4 months, you see them, they will transfer them to another state, and all those money that we have expended on them will be used in another state. We have sensitized them on how to combat the crime within the state. Mr. Speaker, you agree with me that crime is local. Security as well should be local. We should also call on our chairmen to always do what we call security meeting within their local government as well. Mr. Speaker, sir, if you look at it, in the paper today, they said we had 78 Awawi and other court leaders, members were arrested in Lagos, and firearms were recovered. Mr. Speaker, if they are saying they have arrested them, have they prosecuted them? They have not prosecuted them. So I want to say that if we look at 1 year back, before now, the issue of courtism within that 1 year back and today is quite increasing. Because why? They have moved so many policemen from Lagos State to other states, which we have trained them, and now they have moved them to other states. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to say that the Lagos State Security Trust Fund, they should equip the Lagos State Neighborhood Safety Corps. They should equip them so that by the time we start calling for state policing, they would have been more conversant with how to combat the security of the state. Mr. Speaker, sir, it will not be out of place for us again as well to call on the chairman of the Lagos State Task Force, CSP, Egberebitu, to come and tell us how we can redesign or how we can redesign our architecture in terms of security in Lagos State. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, in addition to what my colleague have rightly said, I just want a situation where we will have a Southwest Security Summit, where the Southwest governor can come out with a blueprint on how to tackle the security challenges in our area. Then secondly, I want to collaborate that the neighborhood watch should be strengthened. We know what's going on. And for some people to come, you give them a baton and a blala, whip, to go and arrest those who are carrying AK-47. You know the implications. So we cannot be tied down while our people are being molested and killed across. Then, out of secrecy, there is a lot of things going on. For those areas where people were kidnapped and taken to bush, people are living in that area. And those who have camps in the bush, at least they hit. They charge their phones where they used to call. And they move out and go there. People were supplying them food. So something is going wrong. Until we're able to address those issues, we may still be facing the challenges. I want to say for record today, presently in Ise community, bandits, kidnappers were building dens just to start preparing people for kidnapping. This we are saying openly, because if you tell them secretly, they will still relay it. So let us say it here. It is on record. They have come to attack that community severally, and a lot of people were kidnapped. That is a community were sacked. The Obas have to leave the place. Now those people are coming back. So most of those bushes around us, people farm around them. We know them until our people can tell the police secretly. So that is why the issue of security, state security, is so germane that the federal government must allow each state to have their police. After all, New York do have. We have metropolitan police in UK. So everywhere throughout the world. So how can we now say the security should be in the hands of some people? So we are not safe, Mr. Speaker. So let us work on this and allow our state to move in fast before it beclouds us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My colleague, once again, good afternoon. Mr. Speaker, I really appreciate Honorable Jimo for bringing this to the fore. Insecurity in Nigeria is a big issue, unless we are deceiving ourselves. Then we need to compartmentalize it. There is external aggression and there is internal insurrection. External aggression because it is based on a lot of factors. Unemployment. A lot of youth today in Nigeria are unemployed, and we cannot say crime as ethnicity or as family or religion. It is cut across. Whether you are talking about X-Men or you are talking about Calabari man or you are talking about somebody from Ogoja or for somebody from Shomolu or somebody from Epe, it borders on the fact that Nigeria is in war. We are at war. Mr. Speaker, then internally, many of our younger ones, they are supposed to be productive because of the intake of tramadol and the likes. Even the children of ballet are not cut out. So internally, the younger ones, those in our neighborhood, for example, in Shomolu, they say they join Awawa one cause or the other, but when you see them in the afternoon, they are gone because they are on tramadol. So what do we do, Mr. Speaker? No more rhetorics. The governor of the Southwest must come up with conscious action plan at ensuring that we leave this in the board. Okay, how will somebody rob Lagosians on the water without going through Igbokuta when it's coming in from the east? But if you have collaboration and there is understanding, and if our security architecture is strong by all these Southwest governors, then it will bring a lot of succor. Mr. Speaker, do you think our prisons are for reformative purposes now? The prisons are full, and criminals are being turned out every time. They are given amnesty, and by the time they are turned out, they are even more dangerous than when they got in. In the period of Jakonde, we have where we call Eyimbeti. Then why can't you have the delinquent center that is more of a vocational center where these children, the recalcitrant youth, will be reformed? Maybe they learn the act of carpentry, tailoring, and by the time they are back, they will be rehabilitated into the society and be productive. Mr. Speaker, again, you cannot talk about insecurity without talking about the state of our roads. Even in Lagos, wherever you see a bad portion of the road, the first thing that comes to mind is that you will be attacked. I think it's not out of place if you call on the governor to declare a state of emergency on our roads, at ensuring that the roads are given adequate support in terms of refurbishment. Mr. Speaker, I remember Public Works Corporation when I was the chairman of the committee on work. We had one of the centers at Imota, another one at Badagry. Then the one in Ikeja is taking care of the central. The one in Imota will take care of the east, and the one from Badagry take care of the west. But today, what has come to all this installation? There is a need for us to decentralize. And finally, sir, Mr. Speaker, my colleague, the issue of insecurity and lack of energy, light is the same thing. I think it is insecurity we work on our life. Why is it that Nigeria cannot generate 4,000 megawatts? When they generate 7,000 megawatts today, tomorrow you hear that 4,000 megawatts has collapsed. I think it is important for us to talk on, to ask federal government at ensuring that electricity is provided, and allow the state and local government to generate electricity is supposed to be under residual list. Federal government cannot generate electricity for those states. On that note, Mr. Speaker, I would say security is a very serious issue, and we must give it a very serious attention. Thank you.
Well, from what we have had, I don't know, except we have someone that has something different. We have something different to what we have had on this issue.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Because what we have been discussing this morning is just the effect of what has started from the that we have never tackled the root. Mr. Speaker, today, if you look at Lagos State, for instance, our primary school students are now very embedded in politics. They are breeding ground.
Someone has mentioned courtesan, so.
And the courtesan starts from primary school, sir.
No, they start from primary school. They transfer it to primary school.
Okay, yes, but we can tackle it from that one. What I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, is to introduce moral standard in primary school. We must do that very well. Very important.
Okay. Well, I quite agree with all you have said. We have enumerated all the problems and the factors responsible, which I quite agree with you, particularly those who identify issue of the Constitution. I think is the major problem to, or major source of our challenges when we talk about security. The way we have, put all the words and letters in the Constitution together, instead of progressing this nation, it has become a kind of goal to development, a barrier to our development. Well, from what you have said, we talk about unemployment, we talk about poverty, which is outcome of the economies of the nation. Because the nation has a very buoyant economy. Definitely, there will be job opportunity, there will be eradication of poverty. But if you look at it deeply, for the old nation, only the center is responsible for our economy, which means, or probably, we have some states, component units, that can on its own, advance economic-wise, sustain economic growth, which definitely can, by extension, enhance the economy of surrounding states. But in our case, we all have to rely on the center to do anything. Now, from the experts, the list of the ministers are not ready. The effect, some ministries cannot perform certain functions. So all these are issues embedded in the Constitution. The power is purely centralized. I mean, when you talk about electricity. Whereas we have some states on their own that can provide for electricity, even some local governments. But because the Constitution has not given such power, there's no way they could embark. So we are bound to have issues. We have some young youths that can start on their own, who are creative, but when there's no light, what can they do? So many things. We talk about poverty. When there's no employment, definitely there's bound to be poverty, and the effect of poverty is for self-help to take place. So I think we have to talk about this constitution. We have to look at it. If we want to provide employment, we want to eradicate poverty, we still have to go back to the Constitution. And also, you mentioned about our governors. I think we have had enough of stories. The stories are enough. There is need for us to be proactive. We have to challenge the problems. We have to confront them, and this is the time. Every day, that's become everyday issue now, that people talk about being kidnapped, talk about being killed, talk about this, And yet we keep on talking and talking. So I think our governors, we still have a way out in the Constitution, probably the Section 4 of the Constitution, gives responsibility to all the tiers of government, maybe the federal, maybe the state, and the local government, to protect life. And in protecting life, you can embark on anything. So we just want to appeal with our state governors in Southwest to rise up to the occasion, take advantage of that section of the Constitution which empower them to protect lives and property, to save the lives of our people and do the needful. We still have some policemen in each state. They can bring them together to confront these challenges. They can also come up, like we have praise in Ogun State. We have Neighborhood Safety Corps in Lagos. Come up with some organization or agency that will fight this issue of insecurity and save our people. And I think on this note, Honorable Jimo, if you can help us to put together all that has been said and come up with prayers that will be acceptable to all of us.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Call on the governor of the Southwest State to expedite action on the recent security summit resolution held in Ibadan, Oyo State, with a view of finding lasting solution to the insecurity in the Southwest region. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, the governor of the Southwest State to jointly present a position paper on the amendment of the constitutional reform vis-a-vis on state police, look, another sundry issues that is in the 1999 constitution that will be amended, because it's only Nigeria Federation that everything is decentralized in all the federating units in the world. We are only the country that is centralizing everything about our federalism. It's an adorned job. Mr. Speaker has taken it the way I presented it.
And that the governor should be proactive.
Yes.
That they should be proactive.
Certainly. That the Southwest governor should make use of the modern technology to improve the security enhancement border control, check the porous state of our borders and the influx of unwanted baggage and other sundry resources coming into the country.
I think your last prayer is beyond the constitutional responsibility and this of the legislation. Well, they should be proactive and they should take advantage of Section 4 of the Constitution, which provides for protection of lives and property. Coming up with security acting or what embarking on a measure that will ensure safety within the Southwest.
Absolutely.
Who is that? Honorable President.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion as moved.
All in favor say aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it. Honorable Secretary, under reports. Now, before you let me quickly, while we were on break, we noticed the issue of traffic in Lagos and bad roads due to, most of the oldness of most of the roads and rainy season. The need for us to act to provide lasting solutions to these incidents. We set up another committee which is about to give us report on what's to be done to encourage or to support the current administration so that we can have good roads and we can have free flow of traffic in Lagos. Honorable Secretary.
Yes, Honorable Speaker and my colleagues, as rightly put by the Speaker, the current state of our roads is quite deplorable, and this led the rightful Speaker to establish an ad hoc committee on works and operations headed by the Home Affairs. We look into the matter and come up with views that will assist the state in ensuring that our roads are put back in good condition. The committee actually met with the agencies that are responsible for our roads, Ministry of Works and Infrastructure, and especially Public Works Corporation. The Public Works Corporation is the main agency that is responsible for maintenance of roads. And during our parley with them, they came up with some ideas, some measures which they have decided to take to ensure that our roads are put in the right position. Because, like my colleague just mentioned now, Honorable Olowo, he was talking on the last meeting, he mentioned that the state of our roads is contributing to the security challenges we have in the state. We noticed that we have 3 asphalt plants in the state. One in Ijodobaga, which is the main one, and we have another one in Mota, and another one in Badagry. Those ones have not been in good condition, but now they have been put back in good shape, and they are ready to perform. In fact, interestingly, they have started the maintenance of some roads in the state. Although the wet season have actually slowed them down, but they have come up with some ideas that will ensure that our roads are maintained. And presently, they have even embarked on some, like in they have done about 57 roads around between June 13th to 28th of this year. Some of those are Alaya Diaga Market, Boundary, in Ajegule, Olaniyi Street, in Ifakojaye, Iju Road, Akilo Road, to mention just a few. They have also, embarked on weekly business. They are coming out with those reports.
Sorry, Chairman. Ijuro, which one is Ijuro? Iju from Pennsylvania now.
Yes.
They have done that.
They are not choosing some very bad portions. They have not done the entirety. But they have mentioned, they have crossed some areas there that are very critical, particularly towards the Iju area.
Okay, go ahead. We'll come to that.
All right. Also, in between the 21st and 27th of June, the first Femi Okunu, Cooper Avenue in Ethiopia. Also, Lukuji Bypass in Mushi and Liverpool Road in Awapa. And between June 28th to 4th of July, they worked at Eric Moore by Abebe Junction, Idomu Road, inward Alaka.
You don't have to read out. You can leave this in your mail report. This is just, what is it called? You can save the list of those things you can have it, but just give us the brief, report of what has been done. And
presently, sir, they have set up 20 gangs for the local government and another 37 for the SDA. And they have, set their machinery in place to ensure that those things they start working in every local government in Lagos State. That's what they are working on now. And we have started seeing some of those things, particularly when the radio station is gradually reducing. So those are the things we have seen from them, and we believe that they are up to the task. The major concern we have is that their asphalt plant actually needs general overhaul, but that notwithstanding, they have started producing asphalt, and in another 1 month, we see very positive changes throughout our state level. Thank you, sir.
thank you. Honorable Bolivia.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to commend the Chairman ad hoc Committee on Work and Infrastructure for the work they have done and the committee members. Well, I will still want to add, because like somebody said that crimes are local, so also the roads too are local. And we actually plow the roads every day. Like the Iju roads that he mentioned, I think there is need for the chairman to do some monitoring after engaging with those agencies, because Iju road, this morning I still plowed the road, it still remains the same. So I don't know the aspects they are talking about. And yes, we can see they are making efforts, but there is still need for them to really start working very well. Thank you.
Honorable Councilman. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I found it necessary to also lend my voice to this report, particularly because part of the roads that I heard that the ad hoc chairman made mention of included parts which were within my constituency. And interestingly, I still plied one of the roads as at yesterday. Some of the roads, however, are still in some sort of deplorable condition. As at last week, before the last remote service, I went across around Ojodubega axis towards Aino Road and all of that, just to find out what exactly has been done in terms of the rehabilitation. A lot still has to be done in terms of of the repairs, ongoing repairs. Having said that, the roads are very important network to us, not even just locally, but also an encouragement for other further business developments that can happen interstate and internationally. So I would just implore the chairman to put in more effort into making sure that what they have done is worked on even further for the progress and development of the state in general, because it is a very important aspect of a social amenity that has to be provided for the common good of the people.
Honorable Ashu. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, members. Mr. Speaker, sir, in as much as I want to commend the other committee for the job well done. But, sir, I think at this stage, we need to look at this in the speaker now. And I would not want to use one verse to thank all the council chairmen. But I think it's right time we start to look at our council chairmen too.
Use the man.
I'm bending down, sir.
It's very fulfilling.
So we need the councils, we need our councils and SCDAs too, to complement what the state is doing. In as much as, because of the way it will bring out the bad roads, and it's making it very difficult to move from one end to the other. A journey that should have taken me about 10 minutes on Saturday took me over 5 hours. But these are small things that I think the council, if the council are working, can do to complement the government. So, sir, I don't want us to just look at the government. Yes, we need to put more pressure on our governor to do more for the state. But if the councils are ready to complement, it's going to be faster and the pressure won't be on the governor. So I think we should talk to the council chairman too, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my colleague. Afternoon once again. Mr. Speaker, there is more to it than that. I think the committee has done a great job, and they will not rest on their hours. Because number one, issues that borders on aspects to budget, we need to look at that. Because when we talk about public works corporation without looking at what they've been able to assess over time, then there are the issues. Going by the state of our road, is an agent of government that is saddled with a lot of responsibility, especially now that the rain is abating. There is a need for them to come out. Again, LSHA, I talk about decentralization of operations. Honorable also talked about the local government complementing what public works is doing. Yes, but I know some local government, especially mine, that talked about non-availability of asphalt. Then we have a plant in Imota. There's another in Badagi. There another one supposed to be giving us asphalt in Lagos. So when they are not operational, then it hampers, impedes the activities of the local government in terms of provision of roads. Then, Mr. Speaker, there is again the need for them to be flexible about the operational hours. Today, we know that in the morning, because we don't have alternative transportation modes apart from road, especially in the night. They can keep the operation to the night so that between the hours of 12 and 6 a.m. they would have done a lot of things. And finally, sir, I think we cannot continue to waste money. There are some roads in Lagos today, because of their terrain, they are lower than the road level, than the sea level. You can't be using asphalt every time, sir. They can use interlocking so that when it rains and that particular road is overflooded, when the water abates, you will see the interlocking tiles being solid. But our continuation of using asphalt is waste of money, waste of energy, and it will not make us to meet the requirements. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Bills.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the members this afternoon. I want to believe the report being rendered by the other commissioner is an interim report. And then I expect that by the time we eventually come up with a full report, we will be able to make much contribution. Because from what he said, on the one hand, he spoke about us having 3 asphalt plants, and then he said they're producing, and he said they also need overhaul. This is not very clear to me what exactly the chairman means. Now, I think directly we have 3 asphalt plants, and the 3 of them producing of that is very clear to us. As part of this, Mr. Speaker, we appreciate the season in which we are currently. I mean, we are in the rainy season, rain is just approaching. We may not be able to achieve so much from now, but of course, there is a need for us to put machinery in motion. Also, from what he has said, he has also told us that the Public Works Corporation has also tried to decentralize, gangs to the 57 FCDAs. I think it is commendable. But it is for them to tell us where we need to support this corporation so that they can try and do more. So I would want to believe that when this report is fuller than this, we will know what next to do. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Solaga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and my colleagues. I quite agree that I want to appreciate what the committee has done. And to start with, I want to appreciate the current governor that has able to rehabilitate the 3 asphalt industries in Lagos. Precisely, my brother mentioned that they have started about 56 road and this and that. The particular one in my constituency, or in East Editorial, Kotofe, 6 local government and 11 SCDA have not seen any road being started due to potholes and other things like that. And this particular asphalt is even in my town and they have not done anything. And I learned that they have been doing somewhere in a particular area that I mentioned in Agege, and I think Mr. Speaker said we want to know the areas where they started. And they said this morning too that they have also want to do another 100 between this week and next week. So I just want them to do it. They should generalize it. They should not segregate to a particular area. In as well, the 3 asphalt industries is being located in different senatorial districts. Let this senatorial district do it. I have nothing less than about 10 roads that you cannot move out. Imota Road, Itoke Road, Igbogbo, Bayeku, SCDA, Ekwe, Axis. If you go there now, the area that you're supposed to spend 15 minutes, you now spend 1 hour, 5 hours, 6 hours. Even if from Korodu to K2 now, between my 12 and K2, you spend not less than 2-3 hours. They need to do it, and I believe the committee too, they should not relate on effort, they should be able to go out and monitor what they are doing. Thank you.
Honorable Akolo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to speak. Mine is a very sorry speech because the roads in Ojo local government is in a state of comatose.
We are not being particular about somebody's number.
No,
We
I
are
am always-
evaluating what
I
the
am
agency
only-
has done. Well,
I am only trying to describe what is happening because apart from just being the road, it is the duty of the government too, or the ministry, to make sure that they protect those roads, because after they might have done the road, repair the road, some hoodlums will still go there and dig the road in order to create. I want to say that the last administration could not maintain the roads, but we will call and beg this present government to try to make sure that the thing is continued. But that as it may, sir, still on the road, we have a major concern in our area, and that was why I made that statement, because all the roads in Ojo local government, all of them they are taken over by heaps of refuse. It becomes in fact a shadow of itself, and we still want to extend this to the Ministry of Environment. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Modu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I believe that there are some roads in which I believe that it is beyond the public works to maintain. Say, for instance, the road that connects my constituency to Honorable Sobo constituency is divided. When there is single drop of water, people use Okada. No car can fly that road, sir. I believe that maybe the community can help us go to the Ministry of Works to come to our aid in that area.
Honorable Sonny.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues. I want to say that in addressing this issue of bad roads, roads and flood have some kind of symbiotic relationship. If you, on one hand, say we are fixing our roads, and we are not looking deeper into clearing our canals, we will be wasting our efforts and money. So I want to implore this audacity that the committee doing the work on the road will also go further to look at issues around canal blockage, so that while we are expending funds on our roads, we will not at the same time be losing our funds. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Senator Adewale, and I will be representing the good people of Ifakodjai. Mr. Speaker, sir.
Oh, you have thrown away the jar.
Ja. Mr. Speaker, sir, today makes it 3 years my father passed away. That's why I'm wearing black for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been enjoying the grace of
I
sharing
thought you
boundaries.
have adopted so many fathers. Already is sitting beside you. Where is your father?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm enjoying the grace of sharing boundaries with the Speaker of Lagos State, Agege local government. And for that reason, I have enjoyed the benefits of being the son of Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Iju Road starts from Agege, and due to the bridge the former governor was trying to construct, it has been very, very difficult for people in my community and local government to access the road. However, that has led to serious traffic, and so far they started work on Iju Road. Iju Road starts from Agege and ends at Iju Waterworks area. So far they started from Fagba Junction, which causes a lot of traffic, all the way down to Jungle, the NNPC road, and I think at the end of the day they would meet up with Agege, where they would finish the one at the medium low-cost housing estate. Mr. Speaker, sir, there are many roads in the Fakodai that also need to be fixed. But while I enjoy this grace, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak while I greet my honorable colleagues. Good afternoon, sir.
Lastly. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you, my speaker, once more. Well, my area in particular, though, Speaker has said we don't mention areas, but I will not fail to mention what should be solo, especially Ejido. We don't have it. But, sir, my concern is if the present government can look at this by ensuring that no new road construction may take place. That's absolutely necessary. They should concentrate on the maintenance and fixing of the current roads. They have roads, it's just that they are in bad condition. So they can spend more, concentrate, and the little one we have in Lagos today, if they can work on it, forgetting the new construction, I think it will be better for all of us, sir. Thank you.
I thank you all, and I thank the chairman of the committee, at least for the good job he has done. And we must also commend the governor. And I think the case of the governor is the one of hitting ground running. Well, the governor came in during rainy season, and we know how much of difficulty that can be faced during rainy season to maintain roads. But for the fact that those plants, asphalt plants that have been left in comatose state have been revived, and the essence is just to have asphalt all around Lagos to put the roads back in good shape, which the chairman has confirmed and others have also testified. But our own interest is beyond, patching up the road, is to ensure that the agency involved adopts what is good. It's not a temporary measure, as rightly observed by Honorable Sonny. You cannot invest certain amounts of money in patching up the roads, and in less than a few weeks again, we are back on the same stage or spot. So we have to go beyond that through the committees to find out from the agency what efforts will be a lasting solution. If the road is old enough to be scraped and be fixed again, I think we should go for that instead of wasting money. And also areas which are not good for asphalt, where we need concrete or interlocks or any other thing. These are issues that we need to look at. For them to tell us the cost implication of what we are doing and the durability of such exercise. So we don't just rush into it, and at the end of the day, look, so many roads were constructed during the past administration, and in less than 6-10 years, they've been flushed away. And that's why I must commend my colleagues in late assembly for the clause introduced in the, what law was that? Procurement law, I think, where every officer that signed for job completion without investigating if such exercise has been done in the interest of the people will be liable. I think it's a good thing for us, and I believe this will change the orientation of the contractors and those who are supervising them. So many roads were constructed, and today you can't even pass through them. So it's not about what they are doing, it's about achieving quality exercise at the end of the day. So I want you to look at this. And most of the roads that we read out, take time to visit these roads to confirm if actually they have done or they are still proposing to patch up these roads. We thank you. I'll be waiting for your full report. I think with that we have come to the end of the items on other paper. Well, before calling on majority leader for adjournment, I would like to take this moment to thank all of you, my honorable colleagues, for your support yesterday. In terms of everything you can think of, I thank you very much. I appreciate you for your support. And that's why we are brothers, and we will continue, to work together as brothers. I thank you on behalf of people of Agege. I sincerely thank you. In the same vein, I want to thank our governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu and his deputy, Mr. Obafemi Amsat for the presence, the head of service, the SSG, and all our party leaders all around the state, the party chairman, the member of GAC, everybody. I thank them on behalf of our local governments, and also the clerk of the house, management and staff, all of them were around. We thank you, and our friends from the press, we thank everybody. And I must also thank my people in Agege for the honor done me. I appreciate the KBC and all the party leaders in our local government. I must not leave my friend, my brother out of it. So we all celebrate together with the one in Abuja, Honorable Yinka Ogundimu and Honorable Babatunde Abuja. We thank you for your support. I pray Almighty Allah will continue to guide and protect all of us. Thank you very much. Honorable Ogundimu, you're right there.
Yes, sorry, Mr. Speaker. I'm sorry to break into this. I just feel that in-house put as well you did yesterday was very commendable.
You say what?
What you did yesterday was very commendable.
Thank you, sir.
But as the Speaker of Lagos State, I want to suggest that you should show a big party in all the local governments, because you are the Speaker of Lagos State, not Agege. And since we all agreed, I think it will be, except those local governments that did not deliver on all the elections, but everybody that delivers should have a party there. Thank you, sir.
Honorable, good evening.
Thank you, Dr. Honorable Speaker. I'm not supporting Osun. The party we called, yes, the party we held yesterday it was actually for the whole of Lagos and in Agege, and governor was there, deputy governor was there, Honorable Osun was there representing mainland. So I don't know what is calling for again.
What else is looking for?
And but ABC too was there,
yes,
across the bridge. So I mean, Honorable Osun should not come for another party. I don't think it's necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know Honorable Ogundimu will not do other. I will be disappointed if you are not put a place behind you. It's very good. Yesterday was a memorable day, Mr. Speaker, including those that you cannot mention here. You really tried. And we will be discussing that one on that day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ababa, they came. Yes. They came. Yeah, they came. At least that is also an evidence that the Ababa boys are not, as they have been perceived when it comes to criminal issues. So if they were there yesterday and everything went smoothly, so at least Honorable Lu, at least there was no reports of any crime or violence.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday I respected you more because when we were going to Agege, I could see the security measures taken place. And from the bus stop as from Capitol, we saw the Ankara. We didn't ask for where the NYC camp is because people were basically, they become our guide. But when I got in there, behold, you need to see the seas of earth. And what really gladdens my heart was that there was no any single incident. Then we just closely looked at what transpired. We could count not less than 2,000 people. That means, Mr. Speaker, we need to give you another name, Ashwaju Agege 1, General Lissimo. It shows your closeness, your attachment, your emotional attachment to Agege. And Mr. Speaker, if you have done this, I think I will need to support Honorable Osun that if you could achieve that, and with what we have seen, even we were able to compartmentalize into areas that nobody can touch us. Sir, I don't think any honorable member has done that. Speaker, you are the head of this house. And whatever the head is doing, the members must do. Oga,
extend it to us. It is commendable. Thank
Don't
you.
worry, I will invite the 40 of you. We will do it together.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I was hoping that I was going to talk as well as Omonino. You are truly a generalissimo. And why do I say this? You exhibit a character that, in the history of what I have read, in the speakers of the Lagos State House of Assembly, you are the first speaker that has decided that you would not leave your people, despite the fact that you were elected a speaker. You stayed within the people of Agege. It shows that the people of Agege are not exactly what they think they are, and that's by virtue of people like us in Ikeja who, who you reside beside. So I want to just use this opportunity to congratulate you, sir. And instead of Honorable Oshun to be clamoring for party in individual constituencies, I was in Ikeja. I was there at the event yesterday representing Ikeja accordingly. I think what it should be focusing on should be a very resounding victory party that would showcase every member as part of the night assembly, hoping that this night assembly is going to be more, we're going to be receiving the generosity and the graciousness of Mr. Speaker, hoping that it's going to be better for us. And lastly, sir, the chieftaincy title you received yesterday is a worthy one to be celebrating. So I would go towards that line and say that that's what we should be celebrating, and we are hoping that you will call us for another reception. Thank you.
Majority leader, please.
Mr. Speaker, on that joyous mood, let me announce that I have the approval of the right honorable speaker to move that this house adjourn. Mr. Speaker, maybe hangover. With the approval of the right honorable speaker, I want to move that this house adjourn till tomorrow, Tuesday, the 23rd day of July at 12 noon. I so move.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I like to support the motion as moved.
Okay. All in favor say aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it. This house stands adjourned to Tuesday, 22nd July at 12 noon prompt. I rise.